Welcome to the point of darkness.
The airplane took off from Warsaw at 11:47 p.m. There were 186 passengers and 7 crew members on board. Flight 614 was supposed to land in Kyiv in 1 hour and 40 minutes. It was an ordinary night flight, one of thousands. People slept, watched movies, and exchanged messages with their loved ones. Some were already imagining themselves home by morning. None of them knew that the airplane was never supposed to reach Kyiv. The first person to notice something strange was a flight attendant named Anna. About 20 minutes after takeoff, she heard a quiet knocking sound coming from the rear of the cabin. Knock. She raised her head. The sound came again. Knock. Anna walked between the seats and stopped near the last row. An elderly man in a gray coat was sitting there. He was staring straight ahead without blinking. "Can you hear that too?" Anna asked quietly. The man slowly turned his head. "I was hoping you were the only one who could hear it." Anna felt an unpleasant chill in her chest. "What do you mean?" The man looked at the wall of the airplane. "Someone is knocking from inside." She tried to smile. "Probably just vibration." "No." He leaned closer. "It's a person." Anna was about to call another flight attendant when the knocking came again. But this time it wasn't behind them. It came from underneath the floor. Knock. The airplane shook slightly. Anna returned to the galley and told the senior flight attendant what had happened. At first, he laughed, but his smile disappeared when they both heard the sound. The captain announced that there were no technical problems. A few minutes later, the knocking stopped. That was when things became worse. An unknown indicator appeared on the cockpit control panel. It wasn't red. It wasn't yellow. It was black. The captain had never seen a warning like it before. One word appeared on the screen. "Return." "What the hell?" the co-pilot whispered. The captain pressed the confirmation button. The screen went dark. 10 seconds later, it lit up again. "Return." The airplane continued flying east. The captain contacted air traffic control. "Kyiv, this is Flight 614, requesting a systems check. We have a strange message on our flight display." A calm voice answered. "Flight 614. We have received no report of a malfunction from you. I just reported one." Silence. "Flight 614. Repeat your call sign." The captain gave it. A long silence followed. Then the controller said, "Flight 614. Your aircraft is not showing on our radar." The cockpit became completely silent. The co-pilot looked at the captain. "But we're talking to them." "I know." "Then they can hear us." "No," the captain replied. "They're hearing something else." The connection died. A minute later, the airplane began losing altitude. The captain activated the autopilot. Nothing happened. The altitude continued to fall. Passengers woke up. Nervous voices filled the cabin. Then the knocking started again. Knock. This time it was coming from the ceiling. Anna looked up. The panel above her slowly opened. A human hand appeared from the darkness. The fingers were long and completely motionless. Several passengers screamed. Anna stepped backward. The hand disappeared. The panel slammed shut. But now there were dozens of hands knocking. On the ceiling, on the walls, on the windows, on the floor. The entire airplane filled with the sound of pounding. Knock. The captain tried to contact the ground again. Static hissed through his headphones. Then he heard his own voice. "Kyiv, this is Flight 614. Requesting permission to land." The captain froze. He hadn't said those words. The voice repeated, "Kyiv, this is Flight 614, requesting permission to land." Then another voice appeared on the radio, a woman's voice. Terrified, "Don't land." The captain recognized Anna's voice, but Anna was standing behind him. She hadn't said a word. "Don't land." The voice repeated, "We've already landed." The connection died. The cabin lights suddenly went out. Absolute darkness filled the airplane. Then the emergency lights came on. Every passenger saw the same thing at the same time. There were faces outside every window, not one. Dozens. Pale, wet faces, as if they had just been pulled from deep water. And every one of them was tapping its fingers against the glass. Knock. A little girl in row 6 whispered, "Mommy, why are they all sitting on the wing?" Her mother looked out the window. "Don't look." "But why don't they have legs?" Her mother covered the girl's eyes. Then one of the passengers screamed, "This is impossible." Everyone turned toward him. He was holding his phone. On the screen was a photograph of the cabin. He had taken it only seconds earlier. But in the photograph, the passengers were sitting completely still. while dozens of unfamiliar people stood between the rows, and every one of them was looking directly into the camera. The passenger looked up. There was nobody in the aisle. He looked at the phone again. Now the people in the photograph were smiling. The airplane suddenly dropped. Screams filled the cabin. The captain struggled to level the aircraft. Altitude 1,500. The co-pilot stared at the instruments. We're not falling. What? Our speed is dropping, but the vertical speed indicator says 0. The captain frowned. The airplane still felt as though it were falling, but the instruments insisted that it was flying level. Then the captain looked at the artificial horizon. The airplane was climbing, straight upward, almost vertically, but the passengers felt nothing. My God, the navigation display suddenly lost the route. A single point appeared instead. Red. It was directly below the airplane. And above it was written 61 for the captain zoomed in. The point was directly beneath them. He activated the external camera and saw an airplane. The same Boeing. The same number. The same route. It was flying several hundred meters below them. The captain stared at it in disbelief. The co-pilot whispered, "That's us." "No, look." The lower airplane's landing lights came on. It began to descend. The captain grabbed the radio. "Who are you?" The answer came instantly. In his own voice, "We're trying to return." The airplane below moved closer. A few seconds later, the captain could see the passengers. They were all sitting beside the windows. They were all looking upward. And inside the cockpit of the lower airplane stood a man. The captain. He was staring directly at him and smiling. At that moment, the knocking stopped. Silence. Then an announcement came through the cabin speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning our descent." Anna grabbed her phone. She couldn't remember the captain announcing a landing. The airplane began descending. Lights appeared outside the windows. A city. Kyiv. The passengers breathed with relief. Someone began crying with happiness, but Anna stared at the lights and knew something was wrong. There were too many lights. They were too close. And there wasn't another airplane anywhere in the sky. The landing gear extended. The airplane touched the ground. The landing was smooth. To smooth. There was no impact. No vibration. No sound. The airplane continued moving along the runway. But there was no airport outside the windows. Only absolute darkness. The airplane stopped. The doors opened. Beyond them was an empty terminal. Anna was the first to step outside. A clock hung on the wall. It showed 11:47 p.m. She looked at her watch. 3:12 a.m. Captain. No one answered. She turned around. There was nobody inside the airplane. No passengers. No pilots. No other flight attendant. Only empty seats. On every seat lay a black ticket. Anna picked one up. It said, "Flight 614, departure, 11:47 p.m. arrival, 11:47 p.m. She dropped the ticket. At that moment, a knocking sound came from the depths of the empty terminal. Knock. Knock. Anna ran. But the corridor never seemed to end. She ran for several minutes until she saw a door. The word exit was written across it. She threw it open. And found herself inside the airplane. Again. In the same place. In the same seat. The elderly man in the gray coat was sitting in front of her. He slowly turned his head. "I told you," he whispered. Anna couldn't speak. The man pointed toward the window. Outside was the airplane. The same airplane they had just arrived on. It was standing on the runway. And inside were the passengers, all 186 of them. And every single one was looking at Anna. Then the man said, "We never landed." The lights went out. The last thing Anna heard was the captain's voice over the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Flight 614. The airplane began accelerating down the runway, and the watch on Anna's wrist once again showed 11:47 p.m. Flight 614 never appeared in the official records again. But sometimes air traffic controllers in different airports hear the same signal late at night. 3 short knocks. Knock. Knock. Then the captain's voice. "Kyiv. This is Flight 614. We're still flying." And if the controller answers, a second voice appears on the radio. The voice of the person who answered. It says, "Don't land, we've already landed."
Friends, thank you for watching to the end. If you don't mind, please support me with a like and a subscription. I'll see this and will make more and better videos. Thank you for your attention.